Hey everybody, Mike here with Lollar Pickups. We're at a very special offsite location today with Kevin Moe, Lollar Production Manager, and Nate Yaccino. Nate is the tech for Soundgarden's guitarist, Kim Thayil. This is Nate's space. This is the studio Ballard Baitshop. Nate, thank you so much for having us out here today.
Welcome, yeah.
Thanks, Nate.
Spectacular spot you got here.
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about what you do with the band.
I'm primarily a studio personnel, engineer, producer, and I met the band in like 2010 when they were getting back together, Soundgarden, and as an engineer. So I met them in the studio making King Animal, and that's when they started getting tour offers in. And they, at that point, were kind of new back into the swing of things, and they didn't really have a infrastructure, you know. So a lot of the studio guys, myself included, all just went out on the road with them. And I hadn't done any of that. I was pretty inexperienced. I was also pretty young. And I started teching for them, backline. And this would have been like 2011, 2012 were the first few tours.
Wild, man.
Yeah, totally.
Like
Yep. It was very exciting, actually. It was, you know. So at that point, I was actually teching for Ben.
Oh, okay.
That was the initial thing. And, you know, that's the thing about these guys. They are, they've, you know, working with them studio on the road, they've become good friends, you know. And so Ben, it kind of worked out. It felt natural to go out and work for him. And then as time went on, we kind of shuffled around some of the crew, and eventually I started working for Kim.
Probably kind of had a name established because they were familiar with you and knew you did good work or whatever, and it was like, oh, Kim.
Yeah, I mean,
also,
I mean, I guess for whatever reason, I feel the need to emphasize at that point, I had never done any of this before.
That was your learning experience, on-the-job training?
Totally, yeah. And again, that kind of tells you the type of folks, you know, they are. It's more about kind of bringing out people that they're comfortable with and
from a DIY
and having a relationship
too.
with, you know.
I mean, going back to, you know, SST days and everything coming out of kind of punk and hardcore, it seems very much in line with that kind of background. Yeah,
and I guess maybe I say that because I myself I'm primarily a musician and a studio person, you know, and so I'm always kind of coming at a lot of this stuff from that angle, you know. In general, this whole camp, the Soundgarden camp, and a lot of the people involved, we don't get too like gear sort of oriented. Right. It's always kind of about the song and, you know, the music and what caters to the music. So I guess, yeah, I'm saying that because we're going to be talking about some of this equipment.
Perfect, exactly.
And that's the angle that I'm always coming at it, is like, how does this serve what we're doing, you know what I mean? And like, how does it feel, and how does the, you know, how are these pickups actually contributing to the, you know, to rock and roll? That's
kind of a perfect jumping off point for talking a little bit about what we've done together here. So, you know, Lollar had worked with the Soundgarden camp for the Chris Cornell signature ES-335 with Gibson. And so we did pickups for that with our Lollartron humbuckers, and, you know, that guitar was a big success. So
it was huge for Lollar at that point. I remember, man.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, we were really grateful to, you know, be approached to work on the HB1s for Kim's signature guitar. So, you know, Kevin, you were instrumental in the reverse engineering and, you know, kind of production of our version of the HB1s, which, you know, we're here to talk about today. Can you tell us a little bit about how that started with you and Jason?
Sure, yeah. Guild got us a guitar, like one of the vintage Polaras that we could look at, take apart. And so Jason and I kind of worked with looking at what was inside the pickups, everything from, you know, how the coils read individually to what were the magnets like, because they're bar magnets, but they're a little bit different dimensions than some of the other bar magnets we have in other styles of like PAF humbuckers and stuff. And then, you know, what's the Gauss on the magnets, how's everything constructed, and how's it all put together? They have a lot of kind of unique characteristics. So we pretty much tried to replicate what was in that guitar, the vintage guitar that Guild had supplied. And yeah, we tested it, did a couple different versions until we got it right. Sent it off to see if it did what it needed to do with Kim, and I think it.
And this is for the custom shop, the signature. Yeah. So like early 2024.
Yep. Yeah.
And so now we've had so much demand since that limited model came out. People have been clamoring since the release. Like, when will you make those pickups available?
Yeah.
Retail?
So I remember I reached out to Kevin because so we did the release of the custom shop. There was like limited 30, somewhere around there. But then we did the import model, right? And that went to production. There were a ton of them, and kind of etiquette. It seems is like to gift these guitars to the other bandmates and friends and everything. And so since there was such a limited amount of the custom shop, Kim was gifting the imports, right? And it got me thinking, like, okay, we're giving these imports to some players, and the guitars they actually did a really good job with the import. They totally did. The guys at Guild, they really put a lot of effort even into that import model, like meaning they didn't just take their normal S100 import.
Put Kim's name on it.
Yeah, and put name,
here you go.
Like we worked with them and we went through the spec and they like totally killed it, I think. So the guitars feel great, and I was thinking like it'd be cool to like kind of up them one level to some of these players that we're sending them to, so that it's a little closer to
what Kim plays.
To what Kim plays, yeah, exactly. So anyways, I reached out to Kevin and with the thought that we could put these HB1s in them, right? And you guys did it.
We did.
It's awesome, yeah. And yeah, so was mine the first that you did?
I think we did that, and it was sort of like a good, example of how it would turn out. And then, we went ahead and decided to make it a release so people had an option to change out the import model pickups if they wanted to.
Or other, Guild guitars that use that same pickup style as well. Certainly not limited to just, Kim's signature, but it's a great sounding kind of pickup that's unique in its own way.
It's like a little bit wider than a standard humbucker ring.
But it's
those dimensions have
it's a direct drop in for the Kim import.
Totally.
Yeah. An immediate upgrade. Yeah, totally. Well, you have to realize how many S100s Kim has and we have that are part of the whole repertoire. And I feel like to give the whole history of it leading up to this, because we have we have so much to compare to,
Right.
Yeah.
And Kim especially, doesn't really care about what is what. He cares about what feels good and
not
what sounds good.
Not a spec chaser, he's a musician.
Yeah, and so like I feel like I want to kind of walk through the history of everything that he has access to, and what bringing us up to modern times here with exactly this. The two original ones, it's a black and white vintage 70s. I don't have here; they're totally retired. But he has a third vintage, and it's this one right here. And these, honestly, they feel and they sound the best. They do. And there's something about these kind of old 70s necks that are just tiny, and they work for him. He plays really light strings. And there's something about the whole bridge piece here, and he uses this a lot, behind the bridge sort of thing. And he is also doing quite a bit of bending. The feel in the neck is really important. And he gravitates towards this one as a player a lot. And again, this is one of the original vintage.
Does Kim use the phase switching often?
No. I think it's more of a comfort thing that it's there, and that's why we chose to include it on the custom shop, because it's part of the thing. But no, I mean, maybe in a recording environment, like if that happens to work, But he's mostly on the bridge position, mostly all bridge. And of course the phase is only effective when you're in the middle position. So, okay, that's that vintage. There's three, he owns three, and two of them are retired.
Quick question about that one. What era of the band did he get that guitar in? Do you remember?
Later on, I'm not exactly sure.
90s-ish.
Maybe even later, but like as far as a modern day in studio, and this is something that gets used a lot.
That's a go-to.
Yeah, because it has the feel of what he's really used to. This whole process with the Kim signature actually started in the 90s, which I was not around then. I was a young boy. So I don't know a lot of the ins and outs of it, but the Guild pursued him about a signature model, and they went through the whole process. And you mind handing me that black one there? They went through the whole process and did the whole prototype thing. And there's no like there's no actual signatures on it because it really the process didn't really make it that far.
Just pre-production. Yeah.
They made all of the ones they made. They gave to him. He still has most of them. There's a black. There is a green. There's a natural. There's like a cream, I think. And then there was a blue one. There is a blue one, but he actually gifted that. But anyways, these so whenever I met him, those 3 or 4 that we have from the 90s were his main workhorse, primarily through most of the Soundgarden touring in the 2010s.
So he was playing 90s, prototypes basically on the road through that whole kind of era?
Totally.
Interesting.
Yep. Because even at that point, the 2 main ones, Spider-Man and the white one, were retired.
Gotcha.
So yeah, this black one was the main workhorse. This one lived in drop D. Okay. And was played the most for sure. Yeah. And still, like, even in studio, like, just to clarify, Kim, the guys, they all play, like, they're still active. They play on inside projects and play on other people's records. So anyways, when we're working, this is like comfort zone. Okay. And it's not even that we talk about it. It's just, I know, like, if we're trying to, if he's maybe struggling with, with the sound or like feeling comfortable, I always have this, I know that I can go to that he's just comfortable with it, and he knows, this is the tried and true, I'd say. Yeah, that's a rock. Along with this, yeah, cool. Totally, especially for solos.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally. When they did the, Smash Benefit in December of last year with Shayna Shepherd singing, which guitars were used during that?
I brought, not that one actually, because that actually needed work done to it at that point. I think I brought this. I brought with the new signature. Mm-hmm. They played Outshined, which he plays he plays a S300 for. Right. Those are cool guitars. Bringing us more into modern day, I should talk about someone called Josh Evans, who, remember, I initially was teching for Ben. Mm-hmm. At that point, Josh Evans was teching for Kim. Okay. And he actually initially was the one that started the process with Guild to get it re-happening. Oh. And I'll get into that, but I believe Josh is the one who found this. If I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. But nothing extravagant as far as a story. This only touring-wise gets used on Outshined. Interesting. Yeah, we have one other one as a backup, but otherwise it also gets used in the studio. Super hot pickups. Yeah. Hot pickup, okay. And I'm so, like, again, I'm like not the gear guy really. Surprisingly, I don't know what they are. Super hot and oftentimes used for like rhythm, like, gotcha.
Outshine that super chunky rhythm part.
Yeah. And if that there's certain songs that it's just a trio musically, and Chris would just sing, and Outshine is obviously one of them. And this helps with that. It's a huge sound.
Fills it out a little bit when there's not a second guitar.
Yeah.
Anything else that's like a particular tool in the toolkit for a particular sound or a particular song or anything like that?
He's got a lot of pedals.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, he more than most folks that I work with, you kind of have to dial in his sound with him playing. Like, oftentimes I'll get a sound and it kind of doesn't matter because his fingers and the way he plays, it's like totally different, Mm-hmm. Yeah, we certainly have like amps and pedal boards and everything, but it kind of doesn't matter. It sounds like Kim.
Sounds like Kim.
Pretty much whatever he's playing through. Yeah, it's true. So I'll keep going. 2014 maybe, around there, Josh started the process with Guild. who was owned by Fender at the time. Yeah, I actually like the way that these aged.
Yeah, look how
It's only 10 years old or something,
Well,
but
yeah.
totally, whatever they did.
Kinda, yeah.
So this is a Fender Guild prototype. They did one initial prototype to kind of, with the dimensions and everything, to get it approved, and this was the first full build they did. And he immediatly actually started using them.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool, you know. Yeah, and also at the time, so 2014, we're only a few years into touring. They have so many tunings. There's like 7 or 8, I think, you know. So, having these guitars were always helpful, you know, ones that he was feeling good about and feeling comfortable with, because, you know, touring, and it doesn't have to be like this, but ideally you have guitars that live in those tunings. Especially, I mean, some of them are weird. I told you he plays 9s.
Regardless of the tuning?
No.
Okay,
That's
I was
what I'm
gonna
saying.
say.
Yeah, so like drop D and standard are 9s, but then when we start getting a little lower, I'd put a heavier set on the bottom strings. Okay. Yeah, so anyways, ideally having these guitars stay in the tunings, like they're dedicated to guitars for the tuning, you know, and then if you think about it, you want a backup.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
you always want that. So we're getting into, you know, a lot of guitars. And there's logistics behind that. There were certainly cases where the tunings were close enough where it can be a backup for standard and drop D or something. You know, like I can
It's just
kind
one
of share
string
there.
that changes,
you know?
yeah.
As we were starting to get in these prototypes that he was comfortable with, we were actually using them, you know.
That says a lot about the quality of the builds too. Like obviously you've got the reliable kind of, these are the core of Kim's sound vintage guitars, but to have a number of modern production instruments do the job for Kim himself, that should speak to, you know, customers who are interested in these instruments too, you know?
Totally, yeah. Exactly, yeah. So that process with Fender, I'm saying Fender, it's still Guild.
Right,
but
they owned them.
Yeah, it was a Fender Guild. Got interrupted because they sold the company. So again, it's basically the same thing that happened in the 90s, happened in 2014, 15, around there. And it never made it past the prototype phase. But we ended up with a bunch of them, you know. So what did I say? There's like three white and I think 1 or 2 black from that era. Okay, so then I guess that brings us to modern day here. Guild reached out in maybe 2023. Actually, the conversation kind of had started a lot earlier. Anyways, 2023, 2024, we went for it. And I was taking care of Kim at the time, and so I kind of oversaw it. And I flew down there. I brought this one with because we wanted to use you know, a vintage.
That was the benchmark.
One as the benchmark, and that they took the measurements off of. And they did it. I mean, it was great. So, and I don't want to get any of the details totally wrong, but from what I understand, shortly before that, Guild had moved, and when they did that, they found some old stock wood that was at the shop. And so that's what actually limited the number of those initial custom shop, hand built.
Interesting.
That is new old stock material. That would have been the same as what was used to build Kim's vintage guitars.
Exactly, yeah.
Gotcha.
And so really, yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to if you were able to be someone who got one of those.
Yeah,
you know,
they went pretty quick.
It's really limited. And for a reason, you know, because they also used, I think they had a stockpile of bridges and all the hardware and everything. But this is going to be the first that they made out of that batch, and you can see there's no signature on it, which is cool. And this was basically the one they gave us to get approval for the whole deal. And I would imagine the first set of pickups that you guys probably sent them. He immediately started playing this in studio mainly. And you know, I think honestly, maybe the first time I had it in the building, we were doing a film shoot, and I remember we did it here, and I just had an amp in the middle of the room and his pedal board, and he played this thing for like he did maybe 30 minutes of just feedback, you know, and behind the bridge stuff, you know, while they filmed them. It was just for B-roll sort of content. But anyways, I'm pretty sure that was the first time he played it actually, and he was like just going for it. Yeah.
He could be himself on it.
It was really fun. Yeah. It was actually like really fun.
Wow.
Just Kim doing his thing is pretty interesting. Anyways, the point is that was the first time that he had played through these pickups in this setup. And I thought it was something special.
That's really cool. Wow.
Yeah, we had definitely wondered kind of what his reactions were. I mean, I assumed that, the high-end guitar made with, the highest quality materials would be pretty excellent and very similar to his vintage ones. I mean, obviously that's what they spent all that time trying to do.
Totally, yeah. So this is a custom shop. Yeah, totally. And then of course that gets us into the import model. Yeah, so you can see it's pretty similar. Actually, yeah, the dimensions are actually really similar. The phase switch was a discussion because it's only a discussion because he doesn't really use it as a phase switch, but like
it should be on
it's
that model.
there, and it's almost like I said, more of a habit. It's like guitar, any guitar player, you kind of exactly.
We actually reversed how it functions on ours so that you can't knock it out of phase, because usually it's like down is out of phase, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, we made it so that up is out of phase. So
and
you can't knock it down.
That's actually something maybe that they did the same thing on this one.
Oh yeah.
This is the first. So yeah, it is actually down is in phase, but it's not the original.
Oh, right.
And that actually not bothered him, but it's like, of course he noticed it. And the nature of the switch not actually being used for its function, but for its aesthetic, and also for just to have it there as a feel thing. It matters,
Yeah.
So we swapped it back.
Yeah.
So this one is mine. I think this is stock. Besides the pickups, the HB ones. Cool. And so this is my personal, and I tend to use this pretty often, honestly. On recordings, I'll say I did not. I wasn't as drawn to it before these pickups. It's certainly put it into it, especially since I have access to, a lot of S100s. It definitely put it into a different realm where it was something that I was more gravitated towards, for sure.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, and like I said, they did a great job with the feel of these.
Definitely. We were impressed out of the box too.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
We're tinkerers by nature, so we're always like, oh, what little thing can we do to make it more suited for our own needs? But really, out of the box, these are killer guitars. They're going to do a great job just as is, but yeah, some choice modifications or, a little fretwork here and there,
Totally.
Whatever the little things are to kind of make it more your own. Those things can go a long way.
Yeah.
A handful of things that Jeff Hope did in the shop just kind of put icing on the cake to what was already a pretty decent instrument to play.
Yeah, I mentioned this before. The amount of gear talk that, especially Kim, he's like, again, he doesn't really care too much about the ins and outs of what the heck is going on. He just cares about the feel and the sound and it working with the song and everything. With that said, Lollar has been consistently something that is, he's aware of you guys and the work you do and your contributions to his guitars because they're the right thing for the guitar,
That's great to hear. I mean, we definitely pride ourselves on consistency. I mean, great sound is one thing, but if you can only hit that mark, 1 out of 10 times, it doesn't count for much. We want to be able to make something that you're going to love it every single time. And if you get 10 sets of these pickups, they're all going to sound the same.
Yeah.
They're all going to sound excellent. And for a guy like him who needs, maybe 15 guitars that are up to the task for different tunings and touring schedules,
Totally.
we're really happy to be able to offer that.
Yeah, we want to help a musician make music,
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Totally. And consistently. I think I have your pickups in a lot of my guitars in the other room there. They're always, that CC335 what a great guitar,
Spectacular, yeah.
Yeah. And the pickups, that's a huge part of it. Those Lollartrons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is a go-to for sure. For everyone, for Kim and myself.
It's a huge honor to be involved
No doubt.
this whole project. So
Yeah.
super grateful for that.
Like at this point now, like a 10-year standing history with Lollar and Soundgarden and the members of Soundgarden.
I mean, it means a lot to all of us at the company too. I mean, you know, it's a big part of the reason why I started playing guitar in the first place. And I know I'm not the only one at the shop who feels that way. So it's really cool to be able to work together and, you know, in some small part, play a little role in helping musicians we admire and respect, you know, do what they do.
Yeah. Great work.
Thank you, Nate.
Yeah, thanks, Nate.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Glad to have you guys here.
Yeah, appreciate the hospitality.
Yep.